This is the best looking disaster I've ever spent money on. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. And if you're like me, you've ridden your sport bike, you've rashed up the fairings, and realized how heart-stoppingly expensive fresh new factory plastics are, which is why you end up looking at aftermarket fairings like this. My F4i, when I got it, had some absolutely nasty plastics on it, to the point where I just didn't bother putting them back on. They were broken, they looked terrible, they had a bunch of nasty stickers all over them, so I just ran mine in full squid mode with the front cowl on. Well, a secret sport bike fantasy of mine has been to recreate Marc Marquez's Repsol Honda, the RC213V. And I know I can't have this motor, but I can have plastics that look like it. So when I saw these Repsol Honda fairings going for $700 fully shipped for my F4i, I had to hop on them, and boy oh boy, do I wish I hadn't. This whole experience is actually gonna launch a whole new series on the channel, because I've seen some people get suspicious that a company might send a YouTuber the best possible option that they have on their QC line, so that we give you the best possible option and then you receive something else. Now, I bought these things with my own hard-earned cash. They did not know that it was going to somebody who talks to a camera for a living, and it's probably a good thing, because yikes, are these fairings rough. Let's dive on into a more innocent time of Monday. Well, this seems like an advisable place to start a video, underneath my van. So before we go pick up those fairings, I actually have to secure the motor mounts on this thing, because I completely undid the oil pan right there. Ford decided to make it so that when you do this job, you have to take the engine out, which is awesome. I don't have the ability to take the engine out, but I can lift it. However, before we drive, it seems advisable to torque down the motor mounts and the transmission mounts. So let's do that really fast. Well, now you see, there's your problem. Okay. Now I get to put seats back in. Actually, it's probably a more gooder idea to put oil in it, because I know I'm gonna forget. The oil is in the Mazda. My wife took the Mazda to work, and then that happened. Luckily, my good friends over at Nelson Rig make this gigantic commuter bag. It's massive. I'm not sure if you can see how big that is, but it is literally bigger than my head, and my head is big enough to catch other objects in its orbit. So this thing should hold 7 quarts of oil. The truck takes 6, but given how empty it is, I might as well have some extra. So let's saddle up and run off the AutoZone.
All right, as you can probably tell, we are squidding our way to the auto parts store today because I couldn't be bothered to put on all my gear. However, I am wearing a helmet, as you can probably tell. At the very least, if you're gonna squid responsibly, boyos. I also know a handful of people have been asking where the Hornet is, and if I still have it, and if I still like it. Yes, I still have the Hornet. Yes, I still like it. And yes, I am going to be doing content with it. There are just so many other projects that when I have a motorcycle that is just mine, it kind of takes a back burner. I can work on this bike whenever. There's no real schedule to it. So I do absolutely adore this motorcycle though. And I cannot wait to actually dive in. I've got a handful of mods that I want to knock out. But yes, I still have the Hornet. And yes, it still sounds absolutely great. And yes, it is still my favorite motorcycle of all time. So it's not going anywhere. Alrighty, let's see if I can fit all this in the Nelson rig bag. No problem. Usually this one's a little oversized for the amount of stuff I carry, but it's always nice to have a big one. And if you want to check out one of these, pick one up for yourself, link down in the description, you can actually get 25% off one of these Nelson rig bags if you use the code SPITE. All the information's down below. Looks like we're right at max.
There's only one real way to road test a vehicle though, and that is to drive it where being stranded means death. So let's go to the post office and see how this goes. Well, there's the giant box full of fairings, so let's get back to the shop and open it up. On the plus side, the truck has not exploded yet. We're halfway there. Oh, now I cursed us. All right, let's unbox this sucker. I am a little bit nervous because I have heard something rattling around in here. I'm assuming it is the bolt box. So we shall see what all's in here. Okay, that's some heat shrouding. That'll be important. Okay, so those are the intake covers. This is definitely the windscreen, so I can't see through that at all. So I'm gonna need to get a clear one. I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can get this, but cleared out. These are the covers for the ram air, front fender, rear cowl, body panel 1. So that's the front, body panel 2, and a box of bolts. We're gonna start with the tail because it's the easiest. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, baby, look at that right there. That's glorious. That is absolutely glorious. And the beauty is, I custom cut the keyhole right here. This is just flat black, so I'm not super worried about munging up some of the paint on here. This right here, this is gonna pain me dearly. Oh, that never feels good. This goes right there. And then We're locked and loaded. All right, cool. I don't use the term perfect very often because it's extremely hyperbolic, but this is a perfect fit with that keyhole. Absolutely perfect. These bolts that came with the kit, I really don't like the feel of them. I don't know what they're made of. Can't be ferrous. Give me a second. Yeah. Some of them are steel. I think a lot of these are just aluminum. Yeah, I don't like the way these feel. I'm just gonna keep the stock ones. All right, while I really liked the tail, and the tail worked really great, the tank, on the other hand, the tank cover here is deeply, deeply flawed, and it's a huge bummer. I can already tell I'm gonna be disappointed with this, this look. It would really require a black tank. The seam here is too big, and the seam around the bottom is too big. I'm just gonna constantly see blue stripes under there. I wasn't expecting a miracle from a tank cover, but this isn't great. Also, there's a giant ass crack in it. Like a big fuck off crack right there in the center. There's some big scrapes over here, and then right there, there's some more imperfections in the paint. Again, I wasn't expecting the world from a tank cover, but this is rough, and I'm gonna have to reach out to the company that made this because that's unacceptable. Front fender looks pretty darn good, actually. So, clearly it's hit and miss. So the disappointment kind of continues. That is just from setting it on the ground and, you know, moving it once or twice. And it's gonna be hard for the camera to pick up, but there's some swirling already happening to the exterior paint just because my hands were dirty. That's just because my hands were dirty, guys. Let's take the cowl off. Because those f***ing fairings scratch so easy, I'm gonna put that down. Looks nice. See how long that lasts. Well, we got the front fairing on there, and I gotta say, I don't know what they put in terms of clear coat on here, but it's very much just made of the tears of virgin angels because it's the most fragile outer layer ever. I literally just set these wires right there on this orange, and it already ate straight through it. I'm really kind of disappointed. Also, the edging right here, it's like nobody deburred it. It's razor sharp. It's super pointy and scratchy. Nobody even took a look at those fairings. And then the finish work here, I mean, there's blemishes all over the place. Right there, there's a big one. Right there, there's one. That one wasn't even, that one was there when I got it. And then this guy right there. I'm sure if the people who made this are watching, they're like, oh, he just installed it wrong. He's a moron. No, dude, I have had multiple fully faired motorcycles in my career, and this has the cheapest set of paint on it I've ever felt. It scratches if you look at it funny. All right, guys, I am officially calling it. These are a failure. I thought everything was going good. We've got, you know, the tail end on here, which actually fits totally fine. I did have to modify it slightly to get the key in there, the keyhole, but that's fine. You know, this part right here is great, and it looks great. You know, there's a little bit of rough paint work here and there, but whatever. The fitment is good enough for me to overlook that. But then we move up to the tank here, and as you can see, the tank cover just does not cover the tank. So you have to have a black tank beneath this, otherwise it's going to stand out. Then we get to the front fairing here. So the front fairing has a lot of iffy paintwork right there. We've got the problems there, like I showed you before, and right there. Fine, okay, that sucks, but let me show you the big fairing here on the side. Now this is the one that isn't cracked. This is the left side fairing. So I try to put the left side on here, and the fitment is beyond bad. The fitment of these main fairings is comical, to say the least. Right here, if this bolt mounts up, this bolt hole mounts up, and the main fairing bolts up here, they'll mount up. The problem is we're sitting on the exhaust. It's literally sitting on the exhaust pipe. So they just did not cut these fairings for an F4i. Problem is, that's the better of the two fitting fairings. This one right here, this one's got a big crack in it, right there in the RK in the Takasago chain right there. That's rough, but then check this fitment out. So I go to fit this guy up, right? And we have the same issue where it's just running into the exhaust. And this bolt right here will never reach its mounting spot. The one at the bottom of the frame there will never reach its mounting spot in a way that will allow everything to mate up. I have to like stretch and press these fairings, and the bolt hole here, it's just missed. They completely missed it. It's cut in the wrong spot. I have to pull it back here, and then I have to kind of yank the whole front end fairing in place. I just think when they were doing this, they never actually put it on an F4i. They just got the fairings, copied them, and they never actually put them on a motorcycle. Now there's some stuff that is forgivable here. It's forgivable for them to give me crappy mounting hardware. I kind of expect that when the fairings are 700 bucks. Okay, sure, whatever. Get me cheap hardware, I'll just reuse the stock stuff. That's fine. But everything else, it's compounding issues. One on top of another. The cracks in the plastic, the way the plastic wears, and the poor fitment make this a real big bummer. I hate being negative in videos. I really do. But this was supposed to be fun, man. This was just supposed to be me making a goofy tribute bike to Repsol Honda and Marc Marquez, because he's my favorite racer. He's the reason why I watch MotoGP. He's one of the reasons why I enjoy riding sport bikes. And I've wanted a Repsol Honda livery motorcycle forever, you know? I've wanted one for a long, long time. This was my first opportunity to get one. And here we are. I guess if I want a Repsol Honda one, I gotta find a double R from back in the day. This has been a bad experience. I would have shouted them out too. I would have loved to shout them out because they made a good product, and it's expensive. It's expensive to get new fairings, especially painted ones like this. So I would have been like, hey, from the mountaintop, go buy these fairings if you've rashed up yours, because these are just, they're easy, they bolt on great. No, this is a disaster. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Honestly, I really hate being negative, and it's a rough way to end the video, but maybe we'll have a happy part 2. I don't know. Catch you guys in the next one. See you later.